Alright, so this is not really the kind of thing I like to get into because it's embarrassing. Today, I just sort of wanted to go over the financial aspect of modifying a car because that's kind of a thing that a lot of people like to focus on, and it is a big factor. Like, it is not a cheap hobby, it is not something that I would necessarily recommend to a lot of people because it is hard to focus on, like, future you if you're modifying a car. Saving becomes a lot more difficult. When you're passionate about something, you find ways to make it work. You work towards things, you set goals. When you have a vision, you do what you can to make that come to fruition. I have listed here all of my modifications with the prices. There are some things that I looked up my receipts. There are some things that I just looked up the cost of the item. So it's not going to be perfect one-to-one what I spent because some of these things were bought almost 2 years ago. Prices go up, prices go down, or sometimes I got deals on things. So I did list them accurately, at least for the most part. This isn't including any maintenance that has been done to the car because this is an intensive list. This is not like just modifications that are upgrades to the car. These are things down to the nitty gritty, like floor mats, little things like that. How much I spent to get certain things installed, how much I've spent to do maintenance, how much I've spent to case in point, what I just did a few days ago, decided to use hybrid retrofits to have my headlights converted to the Euro spec or JDM spec with the clear side markers. It's always been something I wanted, so I made it happen. I didn't want to pay $2,000 to replace the headlights entirely. I know what I say about like not cheaping out. I don't want to. I don't like the idea of going the cheap route, running the risk of potentially needing to pay more in the future. Like the buy once, cry once. I try to use that sort of philosophy overall. But this service is first and foremost, it's not cheap, and it's also been time tested. I've seen plenty of people who have done it who have had no issues. So if something has proven to work, I don't see it as cheaping out. I sort of just see it as a way to save money. That's why I did it the way I did it. I'm also currently in the middle of upgrading the car and doing all the supporting modifications for the new turbo. So a lot of expenses flying out right now. So if I can save, I'm going to save. The reason I got into that whole tangent was to outline the fact that for the price of the service, it was $350, but that does not include how much I spent to package and ship out the headlights to hybrid retrofits, because that cost me $500. But we won't get into that. This is primarily just the cost of the item. Well, this is only the cost of the items, not the cost to install, not the cost of maintenance, nothing like that. This is just an extensive list. What I have done to the car to make it personal to me, to protect it, to do whatever I need to. The reason why I don't really get into this, because I know a lot of people expect it. Anytime you post something, people are always like, oh, you spend so much money on your car, or like, how much did this cost? How much did you pay for that? People love the pocket watching in the car community. I figured I'll get into it because this could be like a cautionary tale for somebody else who's looking to modify their car, because I will wholeheartedly admit that I have spent on things that I did not need because of the past 2 years of ownership, like exactly 2 years of ownership. Haven't had a clearly defined vision for the car or use case. Sort of jumped around from like different aspects of modification, whether it was cosmetic or power related or suspension related. I've jumped around a lot, and I've probably purchased things that didn't necessarily need to be purchased. If I had one straight line, like I want to make 500 horsepower and that's what I'm going to do and that's it, I'm not going to worry about anything like cosmetic or suspension related. I'm just going to do power. I could have saved so much more money. If you have one mission for your car, I think that's the best way to save. Not save, but I think that's the best route to go. But if you want to if you're sort of just making the car yours and making it what you really want it to be, I think that you will probably end up spending a lot of money. All that said, let's get into the mods list. It's long. So I have them segmented by brand. This isn't in any particular order. The PRL first, the high volume intake for $460, the intercooler and charge pipes for $850 and $336 respectively, rear motor mount for $190, the SRS collar kit for $221, the braided stainless steel clutch line for $40, their strut brace for $230. Moving on to radium, I have the coolant expansion tank for $323, the dual catch cans for $446. Moving on to chasing J's, I have the full engine bay dress-up kit that was $230. Their lug nuts were $320. Washer and brake master cap, washer fluid and brake master caps, $155. Their door sill plates for $100. Valve stem caps for $31. Miscellaneous hardware, just like sort of all over the place, $500. That was sort of like a rough estimate. Spark plug cover, or the coil pack cover, was $180. The fuse box and battery covers are $130. License plate frame was $90. That's not throwing on the car, but you know. Most of the things that I've actually taken off the car and left off the car, I've in a separate sort of compartment where it's just like discontinued stuff. Their dipstick was $130, and mind you, this was, speaking of which, I haven't added the Wonderlot in dipstick. I can't remember how much that costs, I'll have to search that up. But the Jason J's dipstick is no longer on the car. This list has not been updated in a little bit, but that switches out to the Wonderlot, which is, I believe, far cheaper. I want to say it was like $100. So, I'm pretty shocked that the Chasing J's dipstick is that expensive, because the Wonderlot one is way nicer in my humble opinion. The shift boot delete plate was $80 from Chasing J's. Their AC line caps were $50, and then the steering wheel bolts in the black titanium were $36. Moving on to APR Performance, I have the carbon radiator shrouds for $968. That's all I have from APR. Paragon Performance brakes, I got the slotted I got the slotted rotors, front and rear, extended rear caliper, and P3 pads. That whole order was $1,700.96. Some stuff from Honda, just OEM pieces that I bought from Honda. The trunk mat was $120. Auto dimming rear mirror was $300. I shouldn't have had that. That was done before I got the car. But here I go. The black high-walled floor mats were $200. This is like not including taxes and stuff. Like obviously quite a bit of sales tax is factored into all these things. Moving on, Volk Racing, Ray's Engineering, whatever you want to call it. I have the CE28M spec. Those cost me, I bought these before the tariffs from a local shop that had them imported. So I'm not sure if I saved there, but maybe I did. They were $4,187. The Yokohama Advan Neova 8009 were around $1,600, give or take. The garage unique front lip that I currently have on the car, I have ordered the carbon one before, but I never actually ran it. I have the gloss black garage unique front lip on the car. It was $900. From Acuity, I have the shifter cable bushings for $70, a pedal spacer for $100, reverse flow radiator hoses for $200. Moving on to Mugen, I have their steering wheel for $500, the center console cover for $600, the license plate bolts for $30, which also are not on the car, but whatever. And then the weather guards for the windows, just like the window visors, were $200. And then Suede It. Not many people will know what that is. Maybe if you're like big into making show cars, you would be familiar with them, but they did the reupholstery on the interior. I did the full dashboard replacement, the A-pillars, and the upper door cards in the front. That entire order was $2,587. Moving on to Spoon, I had the shift knob. Mind you, I got the shift knob off of Nengun Performance, kind of cheap, like inexpensive, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it was legitimate because it felt really small in my hand, but that's neither here nor there. That was $65. Wide angle mirror lenses I bought also on Nengun Performance, but I ended up going to Spoon directly to buy them because the ones off Nengun were for the Japanese market, which apparently has smaller mirror lenses than the US. I don't know why that would be the case, but they were too small. I took them off. I have an gnarly scar to show for it because I broke it and sliced my finger open. I bought the real ones for $140. I have the oil filler cap for $80. The reservoir sock for $20. That's no longer in the car. And I also have my order out for the Spoon thermostat, which was $115. Moving on to JQ Works. They paired up with Mad Trace to make their racing hub. I don't remember what they call it, but I have the Gen 1. They now have the Gen 2 and then the Podium line or the FL5. But I have the Gen 1. And with the Momo wheel that it came with, just the black Alcantara with black stitching was $1,700 or $1,760. From Wide Open Throttle, I have their hood struts for $120 and a cooling plate for $350. From WeatherTech, which are no longer in the car, I have the floor mats. They were $200. I just got the front driver side and passenger side. I didn't bother with the rear. So that was $200. From Hybrid Racing, I have the Formula valved exhaust. That was $1,800, or give or take. I don't remember if it was exactly that much. Their shift knob and collar, which are no longer in the car, for $90. And then I moved on to their short shifter with the titanium rod, and that was $430 and $110, respectively. I also have their detent springs in for $20. Don't really know what those do. From RSR, I have the Best Eye active coilovers. Those were $3,000. And then from RB6, I have their front pipe and down pipe, $508, $900, respectively. Then I have their rear suspension catalog, sort of all of that. Camber arms, tow arms, rear anti-sway bar, end links, and bushings for $1,540. Then I have the RB6 Turbo, the 660 anti-surge with the carbon inlet pipe that came out to $3,150. Moving on to Hasport, I have the motor mounts, the full kit, 62A, that was $635. For my dash cam, I have the VOFO something something, that was $200, I think. Kind of cheap. Want to switch over to something else, something nicer at some point, but just not right now. From Uniden, I had the Uniden R8 radar detector that was $750. From Two Step Performance, I don't know why I listed them under Two Step Performance. These are both made by PTP, but I think they were made in conjunction. They were made in conjunction with Two Step Performance, if I'm not mistaken. I have their Black Lava turbo blanket and Black Lava downpipe blanket, $210 and then $380 respectively. From Honda, I have the Flex Fuel Kit or CanFlex for $590, their Flash Pro for $790, and then I got a jailbreak, the ECU jailbroken for $250 with Innovative Motorworks. From EBS Tuning, I ordered their hub rings to mount the new wheels. Those were $20. From Evasive, I think these have a brand, but I didn't even bother to check for it. I just put down Evasive because that's where I got them from. I have the fire extinguisher and bracket. Total came out to $320. From Hybrid Retrofits, like I said, I have the clear corner conversion on the headlights. That is $350. I currently do not have the car in my possession because I didn't need to bring it up to a shop to have the headlights removed, and I just took them home with me, sent out the headlights, and now I'm waiting for the headlights to come back. He received them yesterday, so I'm hoping I'll have them today, Sunday. I'm obviously not thinking they'll come back anytime soon, or not anytime soon. I'm not thinking that they'll be back today, but hopefully by Wednesday I'll have the car back and I'll be able to get some photos of that. And then discontinued, all the stuff that is currently not all the stuff that is currently not on the car, but some of the things I already mentioned in this whole list, and then we have the big things that I have had and then switched or upgraded from one aftermarket part to another. So I had the AWE track exhaust, that was $1,300. Oh my God. The AWE track exhaust was $1,300. From Swift Springs, I have from Swift, I have their lowering springs. Those were $300. Now, like I said, I ordered all these things a long time ago, so I know that the prices have gone up. I did not get coupons or anything like that. I just, things were cheaper. The prices go up so fast. And then from Maxton Design, I'm so glad I don't have this stuff anymore. I had their front lip. It was the V2, with the fusers in it. It was weird looking. I ordered it once. It was $300. Broke it. Ordered it again. Another $300. So I just have it on as $200 or $600. And then their side skirt extensions, which honestly, those were kind of cool looking. They followed the body lines of the car really well. They just I think they worked a little bit better than the Project Arrow ones or any other side skirt sort of extension piece that sort of just sticks out. But it would be virtually impossible for me to jack up the car if I had those extensions on. So I am glad I never actually ran them. Those were $200. I already said that. From EBS Tuning, once again, I have the GT-LM side mirrors. Those were $945. And then from Synth Carbon, I bought their carbon mirror caps for $100. But took those off, decided to go back to the OEM paint-matched mirror caps. I think that just looks better on my car personally. And then Michelin PS4S tires. I did replace those once before switching over to the new wheels and tires. But I got a good dealership discount from a friend. I only paid $900 for them. So before I talk about how much total has been spent, people, when you talk about prices, this is part of the reason why I don't really talk about it, is because if you look at my car, you would never guess how much money has been put into it. Because it's the OEM Plus thing. I know OEM Plus has kind of become a meme where it's people who claim that they're doing an OEM Plus build are just using that as sort of a cope term or a way to sort of justify not spending a lot on their build, which I don't think is something that you should shame another person for. But people think that once you've spent a lot of money on a car, it needs to manifest or materialize in a very apparent way. If you looked at my car, you would never guess. And once I go over the totals, I mean, it wouldn't really make sense. But I mean, that's how much it added up to. So currently on the car, $37,986. Total, $42,372. So I've basically gotten to the price of the car. I mean, that's sort of why I'm making this, is because that is a lot of money to spend over 2 years. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was sort of trying to outline with going over this entire list, is you should wait. If you want to if you want to modify this car, you should know what your purpose for modifying it is first. I never intended to be like the experimental type, like the person who would spend money, try a thing, not knowing if it's going to work, and then like having to do something else. I never tried to be that kind of person because I'm not like wealthy enough to sort of make those mistakes. So, yeah, I mean, that's just sort of where I'm at. I don't know how many people will like gain anything from me going over this list, but I know a lot of people love to talk money when it comes to modifying cars or buying cars, doing whatever. So, I mean, I figured I would get into it.